Samus is back in Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. She's got some new tricks up her sleeve for the Wii, but are these additions a welcome improvement, or do they corrupt the classic Metroid gameplay? Prime 3 is a direct sequel to Echoes, although you'll still be able to enjoy it if you haven't played the last game. At the end of Prime 2, Samus was infected with a viral energy substance called Phazon. It grants her new enhanced powers, but not without a price. Prime 3 ditches the subtle, silent storytelling of past Metroid games and brings in a modern cinematic feel. You'll still be reading the logbook, but the plot occasionally makes use of cutscenes, and you'll be interacting with a number of other characters who are actually voiced this time around. Samus, thankfully, takes a cue from Link and stays silent. The plot is great and well presented, although with the addition of NPCs and a ship that can take off at any time, you do lose a little bit of that sense of loneliness and solitude that past Metroid games encapsulated so well. Obviously, the biggest change this time out is the fact that you'll be controlling Samus with the Wii Remote and nunchuck in hand. If you're worried, don't be. Retro Studios really nailed the controls, and Prime 3 sets an example for how future shooters on the Wii should be done. After playing this game, we certainly hope there's some imitators to come. Whether the controls work better than dual analogs is one of those things that can be debated, but there's really no denying that controlling Samus with the Wii Remote is incredibly immersive and just a lot of fun. There are 3 levels of sensitivity, and even newcomers can probably pick up the basic setting. Wii veterans will want to switch to Advanced, which feels fast and accurate. You can still lock onto targets to strafe around them, but unlike in past games, you're going to have to actually aim at your enemies this time. This can make the action quite a bit harder, but also opens up the door for some new and interesting strategies. Prime 3 also switches things up by starting Samus out with a number of her suit's abilities intact. The double jump, morph ball, and charge shot are yours from the start, but don't worry, there's plenty of other suit upgrades to be found. One of those first upgrades you'll be getting is the grapple beam, and it plays a much bigger, more versatile role than ever before. Operated by throwing the nunchuck forward and yanking it back, you'll be using it for a lot more than just swinging, such as tearing off hinges, pulling levers, and disarming enemies in the heat of battle. But new abilities aren't limited to Samus this time around. You'll also be able to find and install upgrades for your ship, providing air support for those really heavy obstacles. Due to the Phazon infection, Samus can also enter Hyper Mode, dealing insane damage, but draining her life as the corruption spreads. The extra firepower isn't wasted, as you'll need every trick up your sleeve to take down Prime 3's bosses. These boss encounters will test both your reflexes and puzzle-solving skills, and are among the best bosses to be found in any first-person shooter ever. The game world itself is a bit more linear this time around. Rather than a single interconnected area, Samus will be exploring multiple planets and starships. Backtracking is definitely toned down, although that's not to say you won't be finding plenty of spots you'll want to go back to when you've got that new weapon or item. Thankfully, the puzzles are just as present as ever. Prime 3 features the best environmental puzzles this side of Zelda. They hit that perfect balance of being rewarding but seldom frustrating. Now and then you'll have to use your Wii Remote to interact with objects, which can feel a bit gimmicky, but thankfully isn't overused. Overall, Prime 3 comes off as a really polished game. The textures aren't as high-res as you'll see on the latest 360 or PS3 games, but the graphics have style to spare, and the same can be said for the game in general. If you own a Wii and are looking for something more substantial than mini-games, Prime 3 is a must-buy.